Riley, when you picked Notre Dame to be in position like this, to be playing in the college football playoff. So what does this moment actually feel like?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. Obviously, when I entered the transfer portal, it was really for one reason, and that was a chance to win it all, to give my best myself the best opportunity to do that. Um, to be here right now, it's kind of like, all right, it's really fulfilling. You made the right decision, and I knew I made the right decision right away. But just to have this reassurance is really good. Obviously, I say it all the time, but Notre Dame fans have been talking about this since the day I committed. The day that it became a 12-team playoff, they were all over it. So to be able to grant their wishes a little bit, it's a good feeling.
Were there times or days or right after Northern Illinois where you weren't sure that you'd get here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's always that self-doubt that week after that game, and all you do is think about the next opportunity you can to prove yourself. But unfortunately, in the game of football, you got to wait a week. So that week was kind of a doubtful week. But after that, you get back on the field, you get back in your rhythm, and you gain your confidence back pretty quickly in this game. And yeah, ever since then, I kind of knew, we had a good shot at it.
So this is the first time that anyone's doing this 12-team playoff deal. So you guys might have 4 games still to go. What has like the practice prep been like? Like how has this actually felt as we get close to the first game?
Yeah, so far for us, it's been just like any other bye week we've had. Nothing really changes. So the game after a bye week, we have our schedule. We stuck to it. Practice hasn't changed. The amount of periods haven't changed. We're later in the year. We're still wearing pads. All this stuff that we've been doing for so long. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we know the recipe for success, and we're just gonna stick to it.
So you mentioned how excited people have been basically since you got there about the 12-team playoff opportunity to host. Like this is a huge game, right? People are the tickets are reselling for like over $1,000. What's the energy like on campus? How many people have hit you up for tickets? Like how crazy has this actually been as we get closer to game time?
Yeah, it's wild. I know there was a ticket pool, and obviously they can't fulfill every ticket for students here and St. Mary's, but I know there's been a fight for them. It's about 12 degrees out here now, so anybody coming to the game, bundle up. It'll be a good one. But it's been electric. Everybody's talking about it. I wouldn't say prioritizing it over finals, but it gives them hope during finals week. At the end of finals week, they got something good coming. So it's good for the students on campus.
So finals week is it ends the day of the game?
I
Like that's
think
all of next week?
the day before possibly. Yeah.
Okay. I think Indiana moved up a commencement so that they can get their fans, their students to the game, which is pretty awesome. I mean, it's like these are constraints that we never had to deal with before in college football.
That's right.
So when you guys know, right? You said it was like a bye week, right? Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference championship. You guys are pretty comfortably in. You think you're gonna host a game. So did you watch Selection Sunday with the team? Like, did you watch it by yourself? Like, what was that day like?
Yeah. That whole week was just so like I was like just rolling my eyes all week because we have like 120 guys on the team and 120 of them think that they can perfectly predict all 12 teams that are going to be in the bracket and they know exactly what's going to happen and exactly who we're going to play. So I heard a lot of different takes, but like I was just like I don't really care. Like, can we just get to Sunday? So we got to Sunday and watched it as a team. And even then, we're supposed to watch it at 1, but for another 30 minutes, we got to listen to people talk about their predictions as well. So I was just ready to find out who we played. Whenever I found out, I was very excited. I knew what it meant for the state of Indiana. We were talking about it, becoming a football state, because apparently it's notoriously known for basketball for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's crazy. It was a crazy week last week.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that because I mean, you haven't lived in the state of Indiana that long, but it's a pretty cool matchup to get like a state matchup like that where you know that like, the bragging rights, but also that like fans, if they can afford the tickets, like from both sides can go and both teams have a special season. That must be pretty cool to be part of.
Absolutely, absolutely it is. And I need to educate myself on the rivalry between the two teams. I'm not really sure the history of it, but I know if you're driving around Indiana, anywhere in Indiana, it's usually a a Hoosier sticker on the back of your car or a Notre Dame sticker. So it'll be electric.
Did you follow their season at all? Obviously, they were kind of everywhere. In the story of the season, did you watch them much as the season went on?
Throughout the year, yeah, I was able to watch a few games. Just like any other team. Obviously, great football is fun to watch. So if they were on, I'd like to put them on the TV.
So now that you've had a little time to dive into the film, what impresses you about them as a team and what you've seen so far that you guys are going to see in South Bend?
Yeah, so they're a very old team with a lot of experience. They've had a lot of guys play in the playoff before, coming from JMU. A lot of players from there, a lot of coaches from there, and they're really well coached and very disciplined. They do a lot of different things defensively that'll mess people up. So pre-snap, post-snap indicators are really tough to handle. You never really know quite what you're getting and what pressure's coming. So they do a great job of that. And they play really hard. And this is a team that's going to get after it. But so do we. So it'll be a dogfight.
Are we hoping there's going to be some snow?
I always say yes because if you say yes and you're hoping for snow, like you expect it and then you're used to it. But as a quarterback, obviously, I haven't played in it before, but shoot, I mean, we're going to be practicing all week, so hopefully, it snows during practice and we can get used to it.
When you guys were off last weekend and everyone else conference championship, you guys had it basically like a bye. So how do you recover, kind of prepare for what's about to come in the stretch run here?
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways that I like to recover, whether it's ice tub or the hot tub. But one of my favorites is just using like icy hot products. So like specifically the lidocaine pain relief patch is something that I like to put on my elbows because I take a lot of hits. So I'll just
Yeah.
slap one of those on and it stays there. And after that, it has me feeling great. So those are two. That's probably my favorite example. But there are other tools as well that work pretty well.
Do you feel, I mean, you are pretty fearless, right? And you run the ball a lot. Like, do you feel good? Like, you feel beat up at this point of the year, or you feel like ready for whatever is still to come?
Depends on what day of the week you ask me that. If you ask me that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday after a game, maybe Thursday, I'd probably say I feel terrible. Friday comes around, Thursday, Friday come around, I'm starting to feel good, and then by the time Saturday comes around, I'm usually at full 100%. But yeah, it takes me a few days to get over the hump.
I wanted to ask, kind of going all the way back to the beginning when you picked Notre Dame. You talked about this, like when you're in the portal and you're deciding where you want to go. Getting to be the quarterback of the Fighting Irish is like one of the probably most enviable positions in all of college football. Like, has it lived up to what you expected? Like, what were you thinking versus how it's been this season?
It's crazy. I mean, I genuinely say this. I wake up every day, and throughout the day, something happens to where I'm like, I never could even imagine like this happening. Like I can't even put it into words like examples, but like something happens on a daily basis where I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Like this is something I've always dreamed of, and it's hard to put in words. Like I said, the magnitude of this position, because you always build yourself up, and you're like, all right, this is gonna be crazy. But whenever you're really living in it, I mean, you realize how big of a brand Notre Dame is and how much support there is for us.
Had you talked to some of the past quarterbacks before you took before you transferred?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you name him, I've talked to him, and he's reached out to me in support, whether that was before the season, after NIU, or just throughout the season. I mean, everybody that you could imagine, every big time Notre Dame quarterback, they've all got my back, and that's the biggest thing is just like having my back because they understand like the situation that I'm in and kind of the pressure that comes with being a Notre Dame quarterback, and who can relate to me more than they can, and they understand that, and their words of encouragement kind of, mean more to me than a lot of people. So they've been great.
So when you said people reach out after NIU, what were those messages like when you go through something like that, and then people are trying to bring you back up?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is living with no regret. That's something kind of Sam Hartman kind of preached on was, he had some games where he regretted his decision making earlier in the year, and then he had some games later in the year which they lost, but he had no regrets because he played his game and he slung the ball around with confidence and without a fear of losing. So that's something that I kind of picked up on was the regret of missed opportunities versus failed opportunities. If he fails at an opportunity, right, he can live with that. But if he doesn't throw that go ball, a man-to-man coverage, he's gonna regret that. So that's something I kind of learned and took from him.
I know you've been asked about the NIU loss a million times this season because you guys have talked about it motivating you. But I want to ask about Coach Freeman telling you that you're going to be thankful for it someday. In that moment, how do you react? And then now, months later, do you see what he meant? Like, do you think that this team is different because of that game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard for me to even say I'm thankful for it now, but I am. So he told me that Sunday after the game that one day I'm gonna be thankful for it because he's thankful for, in the previous years, similar losses, right? And they've grown him as a person. And I just sat there like, dude, there's no way. Like there's no way I'm ever gonna say that. But hindsight, here we are. I mean, whether, and as far as like the rankings go, I'm not sure on them, but apparently like if we win that game, if we lose that game, we're kind of in the same position we are now.
Right, right.
But it's crazy. Uh, yeah, very thankful for it now, and it drove us the rest of the year. He always said to keep the pain before every game. He says keep that pain because you don't want to have that feeling again, and we sure did.
Well, it's sort of like you guys were the first playoff team because it was like every game after that, you knew you had to win. Like it was
Yes.
like, there's no wiggle room.
No, yeah, like we've been playing uh make or break game for I don't know 10 games straight now. Every game has been you either make the playoffs or you don't. So our back's been against the wall and they were must-win games, every single one of them.
When you talk about Marcus Freeman, I always think about him and some of these coaches that are on the younger side as kind of like the faces of the sport. Like the guys that I would, if I were starting a program in 2024, like I would want Marcus Freeman to be the head coach, just how he relates to players, understands like where college football is today. So what is he like to play for, but also to meet with, to be with off the field too?
Yeah, I'll provide some examples because I could talk about this for a long time. But one, when I was in the portal, I sent him a 3-hour podcast on that Tom Brady released, and he responded. I said 2-hour podcast. He responded 3 hours later and wanted to talk about the entire thing. And this
Wow.
was when I was in the portal, wasn't even committed. He took 2 hours of his time to listen to this because it meant something to me. That's what he cares about. If it means something to the players, it means something to him. He's a very humble coach. So whenever we're in our captain's meeting, it's never we have to do this because I want it that way. If he's indifferent on a topic, he'll ask the players. Like this week, he asked us if we wanted to practice in the morning or the afternoon on Friday and switch the schedule around. We said the morning. He said, "Okay, that's what you want." He's indifferent about some things, and he's humble enough to put his pride aside and let other people, make decisions. He brings up the janitors and has the janitors introduce themselves in front of the team meeting. He knows their names. It's these types of things that you really look up to. He studies like the greatest world leaders like Marcus Aurelius, Martin Luther King, and then they're building something across the street, and he'll meet with like the construction advisor over there and ask him like, how do you guys operate? Like, what time do you meet? Is everybody there on time? Like these types of things, which is just crazy to think about. But he really studies great leaders and it shows.
Well, Riley, really appreciate the time. It's been awesome to watch you guys this season, and I'm so glad it's gone so well at Notre Dame. I'll be at the game, so hopefully see you there. But good luck with the next week of prep, and can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Thank you for having me. Jesus bless.